In this video, we will discuss the concept of utility and utility theory in an effort to learn more about the law of demand. Utility is essentially a measure of the satisfaction that a person receives from consuming a good. We all enjoy consuming a variety of goods. Maybe it's chocolate, maybe it's pizza. But the reality is we have to decide, well, how much do we really enjoy those goods? Utility essentially is a way that will assign a number to our level of satisfaction. It's a random number, and what's most important is the size of that number relative to the other things that we consume. So let's say we enjoy eating chocolate, and we really enjoy that first piece of chocolate. Gives us a great deal of satisfaction. So let's say we get 50 units of satisfaction from the first piece of chocolate. Economists often use the word util as that measure, but that's a fictitious unit of satisfaction. But let's say the first piece of chocolate gave us 50 units of satisfaction. The second piece is good, not as good as the first piece. Maybe it only gave us 48 units of satisfaction. The third piece, well, it's okay. Maybe it only gave us 10 units of satisfaction. Maybe by the time you ate the sixth piece of chocolate, you're actually getting sick. So maybe that sixth piece of chocolate is a negative measure of satisfaction. It actually took away your happiness. So what we're really interested in is the marginal utility. Marginal utility is the additional satisfaction that a person receives from consuming an additional unit of the good. And marginal utility will always diminish the more we consume of a good. Now, if we will remember, our fundamental economic problem is really how do I allocate my scarce resources to make myself as happy as possible? Well, in order to do that, I need to examine how much utility do I get from my first piece of chocolate, and how much utility do I get from my first piece of pizza? But I also have to remember that chocolate and pizza cost different amounts. So really what I want to do is find the point at which the marginal utility to price ratios are equivalent to each other. And I'll come back to this example as we work through a numerical exercise. So let's say that we enjoy Big Macs and ice cream. If I were to consume one Big Mac, I'd get 20 units of satisfaction. I'd be happier if I had 3 Big Macs. I'd get 44 units of satisfaction. Now you'll notice that Big Macs and ice cream cost different amounts, and I have a scarce amount of money to spend on Big Macs and ice cream. Now what's really important is the marginal utility. So you'll notice my first Big Mac gives me 20 units of satisfaction. I go from 0 to 20, so my marginal utility of the first Big Mac is 20. The second Big Mac only gives me an additional 14 units of satisfaction. I got 20 from the first Big Mac, and I have 34 total, so the second Big Mac only gave me an additional 14 units of satisfaction. The same goes for ice cream. My first ice cream gives me 29 units of satisfaction. The second ice cream cone isn't as good. It only gave me 5 units of satisfaction. And the third ice cream cone really doesn't do much for me at all. It only increased my utility by 3 units. Now remember, what's really important is the ratio of marginal utility to prices. So remember that each Big Mac and ice cream cost different amounts. So the first Big Mac gives me 20 units of satisfaction, but it cost me $2 to get that Big Mac. So really it's 10 units of satisfaction for every dollar I spent. However, for ice cream, I get 29 units of satisfaction for every dollar I spend. So really I ought to consume my first ice cream before I consume my first Big Mac, because I'm getting more satisfaction for every dollar from the first ice cream cone than I am from the first Big Mac. But remember, I have a total of $8 to spend, so I can actually consume more than one ice cream cone and Big Mac. So I find the point at which the marginal utility to price ratios are equal to each other. And that occurs at 3 Big Macs and 2 ice cream cones. You'll notice that 3 Big Macs, that third Big Mac gave me an additional 10 units of satisfaction and cost me $2 a piece. So I got 5 units of satisfaction for every dollar from the third Big Mac. And I got 5 units of satisfaction for every dollar from this second ice cream cone. So really, if I consume 3 Big Macs and 2 ice cream cones, I will have a total of 44 plus 34, which is 78 units of satisfaction. There is no other combination that I can afford that would give me more satisfaction than 78. So in this unit, you've discovered that utility is a way that we measure our satisfaction, and by focusing on the marginal utility to prices, we're able to determine at what point do we maximize our level of utility.